its heels. Where are they getting that from? They're getting it from MI6, which according to Phil Giraldi, lies more and better than the CIA does. That's the British intelligence services. And of course, they're getting it from the CIA as well. They have basically become mouthpieces for the Western intelligence community. I know you get pissed off when I say intelligence. That's what they call themselves. It doesn't mean they're smart. It means they're stealing info and lying about it.
There's another factor here as well. Two of them. They didn't cover America's defeats in Iraq and Afghanistan on a daily basis. They didn't make fun of the murderers who launched those wars. George W. Bush, a little daddy's boy born on third base and thought he had hit a home run, a little clown of nothing. They didn't chastise him for losing, and then Obama keeping the wars going. Remember the Afghan troop surge from the Nobel Peace of Crap Prize winner Obama? Yeah, right. They didn't go day after day after day of showing these defeats of America in these decade-long wars. Number two, the Ukrainians forbid any journalists to be on the front. The only information we're getting is, like you said, from the MI6, the CIA, and from the other, quote, intelligence agencies. There are no reporters on the front. They have blacklisted all of them. So we're getting a one-sided story. And I totally agree with what you and others are saying. You're not going to beat the Russians. Hitler couldn't do it. Napoleon couldn't do it. Certainly Ukraine isn't going to do it. And all that is happening is that the more weapons that the United States and NATO keep pouring in there, they just keep bloodying the killing fields, cause more destruction and death, and make a bad situation much worse.
And it's a tinderbox. If some Russian tank commander misreads his GPS and sends tanks into Poland, it's a tinderbox. NATO is poised and ready. The Germans are sending billions as well.
Yep.
The German defense minister, front page of yesterday's Financial Times, boasted that Germany has the strongest military in Europe. That's probably true, but why make that boast? Why say it now? Why make yourself a target? I don't think Putin wants World War III. He wants territory that has historically been Russian. But NATO, Anthony Blinken, the Secretary of State, and his globalist crowd, Lloyd Austin, the Secretary of Defense, inadvertently admitted this. The American goal is to degrade Russia, to weaken them, and hopefully to drive Putin from power. What do we care who the Russians have chosen as their leader?
And again, you mentioned Anthony Blinken, another little arrogant daddy's boy born on third base. I went to Dalton, I went to Harvard, an arrogant little nothing. And you mentioned Lloyd Austin. Where did he just come from? Now, head of the Secretary Department of Defense.
I think he came from Raytheon, and before that, he was a 4-star general.
Yeah, of Raytheon, the second largest defense contractor in the United States, that's making all this dough by sending more weapons to Ukraine.
Correct. Actually, they're making their dough by sending the weapons to the U.S. to replenish what we're sending to Ukraine.
Yeah.
So Ukraine is getting older American equipment, much of which they don't know how to use, which is why we know there are American troops on the ground out of uniform, which gives Biden and company plausible deniability, teaching the Ukrainians how to use the American equipment. Otherwise, it would be useless to them. It's big, it looks good, it works well, it's expensive, but if you don't know how to turn it on and pull the trigger, it's of no value to you. That's why the American advisors, remember that word in the Vietnam era? American advisors are there.
This thing, and then of course, there's another aspect of life. It's called the financial sector. And you're looking at the stock markets now and inflation and all these big problems going on that are real, that can't be solved. And as I keep saying, when all else fails, they take you to war. And my greatest fear is World War III has already begun. And this is going to escalate. And if we don't stop it, it's going to be it's going to be the end of life. You got these idiot moron rich people building bomb shelters, to live in. Oh, it'd be wonderful when nuclear explosions go off. Wouldn't it be wonderful to spend your life underground? I mean, how sick can you be?
Yeah.
And what can we do to stop this?
We need a new political movement in the United States based on peace and personal liberty. Both political parties have given us the opposite. The tax rates are outrageous, and they will fight a war at the drop of a hat. So we need a serious movement towards peace and personal liberty. We haven't had that since 1776.
Yep, peace and personal liberty, and you're the man to lead the charge.
Well, that depends on who you ask.
I don't care. It depends on who you ask. I say it because I've been there, you've been there, and we know there's no one else out there that knows what you know and brings the spirit of America in the way of fact and detail, as documents called the Constitution and Bill of Rights. Thank you so much, Judge, for all you do, all you know, and for being here each week.
Thank you, Gerald. I'm happy we're back on our Wednesday routine. All the best to you.